We're gonna compare Phoenix Watercolor with Winsor Newton. Why do I wanna do this? The fear of using expensive supplies is real. I've been painting for a long time and I still cannot get over the fact of how expensive Winsor Newton, Daniel Smith, those paints are. I just can't. And so when I'm doing something new and I'm not really sure like how it's gonna work out, whatever, I feel a lot better using something that's a little cheaper. And so I went with Phoenix Watercolor and I was able to get a 24 set for about 40 bucks. And you can also get the tubes. I got the tubes to refill because I liked it so much. And that ran about 80 bucks for that. I've done a few I've done color swatching and I've looked at it, but I haven't really broke it down into this level to really do a comparison. So that's what we're gonna do. I have taken some cards here, and this is the same paper. This is 100% cotton watercolor paper, and see really what the difference is and if we notice anything. So I really hope you stick around and watch this whole video, but if you don't have time, I completely understand, and you can just skip on it to the end and see the results. But if you do have any opinions, even thoughts, I would love to read your comments, so comment down below. And just so you know, disclaimer, I purchased all of this with my own money, all of it, my own moolah. I wasn't paid to make this video. I didn't get anything for free. I spent my money on buying all of this stuff. So just so you know, and there is links down below if you're interested in purchasing in either one of these sets. I do earn a small, and I literally mean small, teeny tiny commission, but every cent helps me with this channel. So we are going to do a comparison and let's get started. All right, here we go. I spilled some water. I have two things of clean water, so we're good there. I've got the Winsor right here, the Phoenix right here. We have our cards, and on these cards I also have the pigment information, so I'll be able to give you that as well. We have 2 cups of water, so we are good with water. And the red is the only thing actually that I do not have in both of these palettes. So I went ahead and grabbed the tubes for both, and we're gonna go ahead and just swatch straight from the tubes here. So and then that is that. So let's do this. Let's see how this goes. So we're gonna start off with the yellow because I don't want to get this water really dirty, and I think sometimes the other colors really influence yellow a lot. So we're gonna go with a lemon yellow, and I am using a no, I'm not. I'm using a Princeton Neptune brush here. So this is Phoenix yellow and Winsor yellow, and these both use the same pigment information, so it is PY175. So as far as just how both of these react, they both react really close to the same. I'm gonna go ahead and swatch these, and then I will hold up to the camera as they dry, because I think you can tell a little better when they are dry. Okay, so we have the yellow ochre, and these actually do have 2 different color pigments in here. So we have Phoenix right here, which has PY42, and then we have Winsor that has PY43. So I'm gonna try and get a little thicker here. Now this color, I actually do notice a difference between the two, and that is that it seems like this yellow ochre is a little less transparent than the Winsor ochre. And I picked this one even though it wasn't the same pigment information because I wanted you guys to see the difference in these two. I'm just not getting enough water on both of these, and I want to make sure to get it good and saturated here. So you can tell actually a little difference on these two. They are a little different, and I think that's because, like I said, one is kind of more transparent than the other. So here we have Winsor Orange and Phoenix Orange. The one thing I noticed that was weird, and I didn't have time to look it up, was on the Winsor, it actually gave this whole long, like benzimidone, I don't know, something like that. Even though it's the same pigment information, Winsor just kind of added a little more on it. I'm just gonna go ahead and swoosh that all the way down. I grabbed a bigger brush, but I feel like I still kind of lacking. So here is Winsor Orange. I need a little more on my brush. We want to try to make this match as much as possible, you know, as far as like the dark going into the light. So that's Winsor Orange, and that's PO62, so that's pretty close to the same as well. So here is Phoenix Red. We're gonna wait for that one. So we're gonna do the blue-green shade next, and these are the same. So on both of these tubes, it says PB15. So we have the same information right here. So I'm just gonna go into here. This is the Phoenix blue-green shade. And I think this color is one that I did notice a little bit of a difference. Even though it's the same pigment, it still was a little different. I'm using a size 8 brush, in case anyone was wondering. So this blue-green shade is kind of like a phthalo kind of color. And it seemed like there was just a slight difference there. We'll see when that dries. Like I said, we're not doing all of the colors because we're not going to do that. I just wanted to pick some of the main colors that we use on a regular basis, you know, like cerulean. And it was a little surprising that this Phoenix set came with a cerulean. So, and this is a great color for sky, for the water. So the Phoenix is PW6, PB15. And Winsor Newton is just a single pigment, so it's just PB35. And this I actually just put in my palette. So I don't want to grab a whole lot of it, but I think I grabbed, I think I did grab a lot. And just a smidge of water to bring this down all the way. So there we go on that one. I'm going to try and get this top a little darker so we can compare, because I got it kind of thick over here. Okay, we'll let that dry. I have 2 cups of water right here in case you didn't notice, and one is to rinse the brush, and then the other has more of the cleaner water so that we're not really getting too many different colors mixing in with each other. So this is the sap green, and they have the same pigment information on both of these. So the Phoenix actually has PG36, PY110. So it is the exact same, or so they say, as the other color. I may have to spray my paints down again. It is 100 and I think it's just 100 here in Texas. So it is, you know, Not very cool right now. So here is more of the sap green color. You know, the difference that I noticed the most in using professional grade versus student grade is the fact that when you grab a little bit, you get a lot more pigment. So there's kind of more bang for your buck, even though you're paying that premium price, obviously. I wanted it to get a little darker on the top so we can really compare. So I'm gonna try to drop in some dark right here and go with that. Okay, set that to the side. Now we have olive green, which I love the color olive green. And this is one of my favorite go-to green colors. I'm gonna go ahead and spritz my stuff down. So the Phoenix has PY65, PB15 semicolon 6, and PR101, and the Winsor just has 2 pigments, and it has PV42 PG7. So we're gonna see how close together these are. I like this green because it is a more natural looking green, what you would normally see in nature. And it mixes really nicely with blue. Mixes nicely with a lot of colors, actually. So we're gonna just dab in some darker color right here so we can really see a difference, because I really want to know the difference here. As far as this setup goes, this is not the original 24 set that comes with the Winsor Newton 24 pans. I did substitute some colors out of here, so there was a few like raw umber and things like that. I don't really use those, so I changed that out and I added some different, like this teal color right here. I have a burnt sienna, or not burnt sienna, sepia color actually, and I really like it. It's a really good kind of brownish color. So here is the burnt sienna, and the pigment information is actually the same for both of these. And they're both really transparent. Great colors. I use these all the time as well. So let's get in there. Let's get it really juicy. I have noticed, because I use both, like I said at the beginning of the video, I do use both of these quite a bit. And I do notice that the Winsor seems to be a little cleaner looking, like more pure. And I'm not sure if it's a granulation type thing or something else. I know that Phoenix has oxgall in their formula, and I'm not sure if that's what causes it. I didn't look to see if Winsor uses any of that as well. So this tube was just really trying to get out of here. I think that is good. I'm gonna just need a little bit of water to get this flowing. So this may take a little while to rinse my brush here. Rinse it again with some cleaner water. I'm just gonna carry that down, and I'm gonna try to put the lid back on without making a huge mess here. I'll probably make a mess. Okay, no, I almost didn't get anything on me. I was so close. Okay, so this is, like I said, Winsor Red PR254. Thankfully, I picked a good day to do this because it should dry out pretty fast. I'm gonna rinse my brush a little there, a little there. Try to get this to go, to move down, move it down. Rinse our brush a little more so we can get this kind of lighter so we can see the difference. All right, now we're gonna try and do the same thing here. There we go. I didn't get much paint on me. That's nice. That hardly ever happens. Okay, that is gonna take a second here. So we'll go back and look at these other ones. So that's pretty much dry. Those are pretty much dry. I think our olive green has just a little bit. Oh man, did you see that? I almost knocked my brush clean over. That would have been a nightmare. Oh, ah. And cerulean. And we have our blue. And what is this? Olive, 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 sienna, sienna, and sap green. And that needs like a second. That's probably gonna need more than a second. Okay, I'm gonna hold these up to you so you guys really can see the difference. I gotta fix my camera so that it'll focus when I bring this stuff up. So here we go. Find the center. There we go. So that looks really similar. I think that looking at the camera, this one might be just a little bit darker in color, but it is pretty close to the same. And I didn't state this before, but this is the same paper. I'm using the same exact paper on these. So it is 100% cotton. It's paper from Michaels. So you can see there, that looks, this one is a little less transparent than this one. But other than that, the coloration is pretty close to the same, I feel like. I don't know. What do you guys think? So I added more green in that corner and it really expanded out. But those are, even though they're two different colors, they look pretty close to me. Pretty close. And then we have our Phoenix and Winsor blue, both in the green shade. And this one looks a little, maybe a little brighter, but I think they're pretty close, actually. And then we have our cerulean, and these are two different colors. And you can really tell a difference in these. This is a very granulating color. The Phoenix seems to granulate a little more than what the Winsor does. And that may be because some of that oxgall that's in this formula. But it seems like this is kind of a little bit, maybe a little more blue than this. I don't know. It's pretty close. So these are a little different as well, but not much of a difference at all. Not much of a difference. Is it focusing? Focus. There we go. So, I mean, it's very similar. And then these were two that were also very different as well. So they have two different pigment informations. And this is something that you can't see really on a camera, but the, oh, I have it the other way around. The Phoenix one seems to be a little less transparent than what the Winsor is. So I feel like I always grab too much with Phoenix, whereas I don't with Winsor. So there's that. And then the lemon yellows are really close to the same. I think that's pretty close. They're both really bright. I can't stare at them because they're so bright. And then we have of course, the reds here. And there is a little bit of a difference. It's interesting because I'm looking at the camera as I'm doing this, and in person they don't look as different as they do on screen, but it does seem like the Phoenix red has a little more pink in it than the Winsor red to me. So yeah, so there we go. There is our comparison in those. So what did you guys think? I am really shocked how close the two were together. I think the color that I was the most impressed with was the olive green. Even though they have different pigment information, they look really close together. But I am a huge fan of olive green, like I said in the video, because it's just a natural green that you'd see like in your backyard. So which color did you think was the most surprising color that looked the same, or were you shocked by certain colors that were different? I would like to know. Also, both of these paints, I can only do a video and you can watch me, but it is different using both of these paints. With the Winsor and Newton, it is a little easier to get the paint and the pigment out. So with the Phoenix, sometimes I have to work a little harder to get it out. It's not as easy and it doesn't wet as fast. And I think some of that has to do with the way the binder is in the Phoenix. So sometimes it just feels like the Winsor is a little smoother in some ways, which of course you would hope that there would be some sort of difference if you're paying that much for a brand. And they do offer archival, and they've been around for eternity almost, you know, like they have been around to be able to say, this is an archival paint and this is this, and they have the time to prove it. Whereas Phoenix came out in 95, I think it was, and they haven't been around as long. So as far as being able to claim archival, which I honestly don't remember if they do on their website, I'd have to go back and look. They just haven't been around for hundreds of years to say how well their pigments actually stand. So it is a decision that you get to make on what supplies that you want to buy. But I think that Phoenix does give a great product that fits certain niches, certain budgets, and that's why I really like it. Because yeah, I could use Winsor or Newton all the time, Daniel Smith all the time, but that's not really helpful because we know that those are basically like the top of the top and the best of the best, and sometimes we can't really afford the best of the best, and there's nothing wrong with that, because you need to be creative and create things no matter what you can afford. So that's why I wanted to make this video, so you can see that this brand is super great and they are more affordable. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed it, and if you did, please subscribe, and I can't wait to read your comments. I'm so excited. Yeah, because I know that I know some things about pigment information and colors, but there are so many more people out there that are so much smarter than me when it comes to that, and I can't wait to see what other people think as well. So yeah, I'm gonna go paint, and I hope you guys have a creative day. Thanks for watching.